to the Kayak Fishing Obsessed podcast. We'll be sitting down with a fresh guest each week. Someone who shares the same kayak fishing passion that runs through our veins. We're talking kayak anglers, kayak companies, lure experts. Heck, anyone who's got a story to tell about landing the big ones from a kayak. We're setting our sights on becoming the #1 kayak fishing podcast in the world. You'll get a chuckle, a grin, and hey, maybe even a belly laugh. Because we believe in the power of humor. But above all, we're here to educate and inspire. So, whether you're a seasoned kayak angler or just dipping your toes into this exhilarating world, join us on the Kayak Fishing Obsessed podcast. It's time to reel in adventure, camaraderie, and the joy of the catch. Here's your host, Darren Windle.
What's up, you fish freaks? Welcome to episode number 138 of the KFO show, Kayak Fishing Obsessed. And tonight is going to be a banger because let's be honest, most of us go out in the water and we're guessing, right? We're picking lures, we're changing colors, we're switching spots, hoping to run into fish that are willing to bite. But what if we actually understood what was going on down there? What instead of guessing, we knew how bass think, how they feed, what actually triggers them to commit? Well, that is what this episode is all about. We got fish biologist Thad Moody with us, and we're diving into the science behind bass behavior, what they see, what they feel, why they follow, why they don't bite, and most importantly, how can we use all of that information to catch more and bigger fish? This is one of those conversations where if you really lean in, it can completely change how you approach fishing. And really quick, before we jump in, there are more kayak anglers on the water than ever before. But the safety knowledge hasn't kept pace. And the reality is most of the risks we face out there come down to decisions, reading conditions, understanding your limits, and knowing what to do before things go sideways. And that's exactly what we teach at KFast. It's a simple, practical system to help you fish smarter, reduce risk, and stay safe out on the water. So if you haven't already done so, head over to kfast.co and earn your certification today. All right, folks, let's dive in. The question of the week, and Wyatt, I got the poll down there at the bottom left, and everybody so far has pushed 1, which means yes. Do you still have a job? Where are you at right now?
I'm in Texas right now.
Where specifically in Texas?
Won't tell everybody whether I have a job or not, but I am in uncertain Texas.
Where are you at right now, physically?
Population is now 86.
You turned into a robot, Wyatt. I can't understand what you're saying. You turned into a robot. Well, when Wyatt was in the green room, he told me he was in basement. Yes, he was in his mother's basement. So, which made me think that he actually lost his job. So I don't know. He still has it. Well, so you are fishing the Bassmaster right now. Yeah, terrible service. Hopefully that'll come back. Thad, welcome to the show.
So just got last.
What's up, y'all?
Oh man, Wyatt's having a hard time with the internet right now, so I just cut him off. And
I know the way his face is frozen is quite hilarious.
He looks wildly happy right now, so we'll try to keep him in a happy space. Wyatt, you're going in and out, so if you can hear us, I don't know. We'll head over here to Mr. Thad Moody. Thad, appreciate you coming on tonight. For those who don't know you, who are you and what do you do in the fisheries world?
All right. So again, my name's Thad Moody. Little background. I've got a bachelor's of wildlife fisheries and aquaculture biology.
All right.
I have a master's degree in conservation biology, specializing in fisheries. And currently I build houses due to some government restructuring about a year ago. I left Mississippi State University. I was with our extension service. I went federal, and 6 months in, I got doged, as they say.
I got doged,
but I still work a ton with a bunch of youth fishing programs, some local fishing programs. I do a lot of speaking. I spoke at Mississippi State University about a month ago. Next month, I'm going to speak down at another lake for a conservation program. I'm one of their keynote speakers down there. So I still do a lot of education in the world, working with youth programs, and just getting people outdoors. That's always been my ultimate goal and always will be, no matter if I'm shocking a lake or swinging a hammer.
All right. So now you're rocking building houses. Or
Yes.
do you miss not working for federal, right?
Yeah, I've worked both as a state biologist and a federal biologist and at Mississippi State University.
Yeah.
And one thing I will say is, since I'm no longer bound by the higher powers, I can actually speak my mind and say what I truly believe.
I do what I want.
Yeah, before I'd get slapped on the wrist. I couldn't have a podcast when I was doing certain things, and if I did, I had to have everything I was going to say or talk about run through my uppers.
You couldn't have your own personal podcast?
No, because they still consider me as a representative of the university or a representative of MDWFP or stuff like that.
That's a slippery slope. That can go far and wide. Anyways.
Yeah, so I do miss it. I miss being on the water, stuff like that. But I will honestly say, building houses, I actually have a lot more free time to fish than I did when I was in fisheries or as a biologist.
So how does one become a biologist? Why?
So I grew up, strangely enough, from the time I was 11, I was on a job site building houses, crawling through attics. But I've always had a huge passion for the outdoors.
Sounds like child labor. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I know everyone's thinking it. I'm just going to say it. Yeah.
Well, I will say at 16 years old, back in the early 2000s, I was making like $17, $18 an hour.
Dang,
so
bro.
I was happy.
Yeah, you were.
But it paid for all my fishing stuff and absolutely loved it. But I've always just had this huge, huge passion for the outdoors. I wanted to be the next crocodile hunter. That was my goal. And I've jumped on the back of many alligators, whether it's study them or, during alligator season down here. And I've hunted them out of my kayak too. But I've just always had this huge passion for the outdoors, and fishing's always been my escape, my release. My mom actually taught me how to fish.
Who taught you how to? She teach you how to jump on the back of alligators too? That's a story.
No, she's not too happy about that. It's just I do a lot of spear fishing too. It's actually, I have myself tattooed on my arm when I went down to shoot a big grouper. And I do a lot of spear fishing. I've tangled with sharks. I was a bear biologist in Missouri for a while doing research that kind of led them to getting a bear season. So I've just kind of bounced all around, and now I'm back in Starkville with my wife.
What do I even ask right now? Bears, alligators, sharks, large
life insurance
bass,
policies,
crappie, life insurance policies,
the most
building
exciting
houses.
thing after?
It's a renaissance, man. I don't even know where to go. Hoover's over here in the comment, bro. It's Mississippi. There ain't no child labor.
He ain't wrong.
What was your question, Wyatt? He's back.
What is the most exciting thing to go after out of all that?
Dude, I will tell you, probably one of the most exciting things is, I don't know if it's so much exciting as it kind of makes you feel like your place in the world, even though, we're people, we kind of know it all. But I was spearfishing one day, and we were diving on a deep wreck, and I was on a safety stop, and I looked up, I couldn't see the surface. I looked down, I couldn't see the bottom, and I could see this big shadow that wound up being a whale shark way, way off in the distance. It just makes you feel small. So that was kind of exhilarating and awe-inspiring. But fishing for catching alligators is probably one of the most fun things.
Yeah. Hoover and I have actually talked about doing a trip down Louisiana and all these places and going hunting gators.
It's so much fun because in Mississippi, you have to spotlight them at night, cast on with rod and reel, and fight them in like that.
So you basically throw out a hook, and then you hook them.
You hook them, you snag them.
You snag them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I've watched some. What's that? Shoot 'em. What is that?
Oh, swamp people. Yeah, you can't do that in Mississippi.
Say what now? I missed that.
You can't do that in Mississippi. Actually, no.
Okay. Well, wherever they're at. Were they in Louisiana?
Yeah, they're in South Louisiana, but here you have to either shoot them with a bow fishing rig or snag them and snare them before you shoot them in the back of the head.
Interesting.
Huh.
Yep.
All right. So, how big of alligator did you jump on the back of? Why would you do this? I got so many questions.
Study and tag and release and stuff, or
is there an easier way than riding it like a cowboy? I'm so confused.
How is you gonna put a tracker on them?
I don't
actually
know.
killed
or something. I don't know.
You got to release them
Jumping on it is literally the last thing that I would do. But sure.
I've the biggest gator I've ever been a part of was over 13 feet.
Okay.
I actually, a few seasons ago, I duck hunt too. I've never killed a banded duck, but I killed a banded alligator in Mississippi that was banded in Louisiana.
Huh.
All right. So banded means someone caught it, tagged it,
Yep.
and is tracking it.
Yep.
All right.
How far away?
As the crow flies, about 40 miles, which is really, really far for a gator to go, honestly.
40 miles. Wow. No, how far they we're way off track. I don't care. This is fun. Had they like been tracked to go further than 40
Not
miles?
really.
That
I mean,
one's
they
like stupid.
Some have that one. It was a young one just trying to get, I guess, find new territory as a young male. But yeah, I mean, it's fun. I've done it out of kayaks too. So
Bow fishing for gators from a kayak. You know what? I need to get a trip going. Who would sign up for that? That'd be good times. Fur fishing's like, sorry, gators, hard pass. I'm getting ready to head down to Santee Cooper here at the end of next month. And it's
I'll be
mating,
there,
isn't it?
huh?
Is it mating
Yeah.
season?
In
It
May.
is.
Yeah.
They get
I
all.
actually had one on Toledo Bend try to rip my XI3 off the front of my Titan.
Tell me you have it on video.
I don't. I do not.
Was that before or after you shot it with a bow?
No, this is why I was fishing a tournament. No, I was
took your
tournament
motor
fishing.
and was thrashing with it.
Oh yeah, I've got a big gash in it. It was no bueno.
I've had people tell me like they've jumped off the bank over the bow of their kayak and into the water before.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, I've had them
crazy
come up real
stories.
close and stuff. I mean, I fish around them a ton, but I actually be at Santee Cooper at the end of May as well.
Oh, so I'll get to meet you. Are you going to be there at Relax Retreat?
I will be.
Yep.
Look at that. I feel everybody I talk to is going to be there. I was like, do they have enough cabins there? My gosh. I feel like
I booked a
100
long
different people that I know are going to
I
be
booked
there.
a minute ago.
We can do it like summer camp because there's another resort right across the lake from us, so you can go have war with that camp.
Oh, there we go. I just watched Heavyweights with my kids like not too long ago. Where
Oh God.
where the fat camp goes against like the MVP camp, and they kept on playing pranks on one another. Oh my gosh! So you just love being outdoors. That's what you got the fish biology in the first place. Did the fishing come first, or did the science come first?
The fishing came first. One of my earliest memories was fishing. I was around 3 years old. It's one of my better memories. Again, fishing with my mom. And again, she's from a different, kind of time. She grew up in a different, in the old South, and they fished for food back then. They didn't catch or
Right.
kill. They didn't eat. So she instilled that passion for fishing with me. And she said one of her happiest days was when I learned how to put line on my own reel and bait my own hook.
Oh yeah, heck yeah, I love it. So what back when you were doing it like full time for federally or for the state, what does your day to day actually look like as a fish biologist? Like essentially you're just doing studies and then you're writing reports and you put that out. Is that essentially what you're doing?
Yeah,
Presenting it all over the place.
whether it was, seining a pond or a lake or shocking them up and doing density and age studies. So a lot of the time we would, shock them up, see how many we were shocking up per acre, just kind of get a rough population. There's a whole big formula to use for all that. It's like a 3-page formula if you do it by hand, or it's like 4 clicks if you use a computer. Highly recommend using a computer. But let's say I shock a 2-acre pond and I find X amount of bass per acre, not a ton of forage fish, kill a few of the bass, take out the ear bone, count the rings on them, see how much they weigh, how long they are, and how old they are, and see if it's a healthy or unhealthy population. And I tell the landowner what to do to
Oh,
make that pond healthy.
so this is privatized.
I did well. A lot of your public stuff, like when I was in the extension service, I was over a few counties, and if the landowners, we were a free service to the public, and if they
Oh,
needed
really?
help with stuff, yes,
Okay.
that's if you're, and I know Ohio has an extension service. They have 4-H because I worked heavily with 4-H. That's part of the extensive service of your state. I actually, part of my master's thesis, I helped write the kayaking program and the fishing program for the state of Mississippi for 4-H. That's actually how Charlie Sanders got started with the kayak fishing stuff.
Okay.
He
Nice.
was in my club here.
Cool kid. I like him
Oh
a
yeah.
lot.
Oh yeah. And so we were we work for the university. We're a publicly funded service, So if you had problems out on your force or something like that, we could come look. I did a lot of the fishery stuff, telling people how to fix their ponds. Now, whether they actually listened to me or not and got mad if it didn't work, that's on them.
Okay. So, say you go to someone's pond. When you shock a pond, like how many fish are coming to the surface? Like, how's that even work? Like, I've seen the boats and they got like, you know,
Little octopuses.
yeah, they're all over the place and they're netting things and
So basically, within a few feet of where the way the vultures works, it just stuns them and they float up real quick, and you have just a few seconds to net them.
oh, before they regain consciousness.
Yeah, they
and take
regain.
off
They
again.
just take off. What's really fun if you are underwater and you hit one of them big gators or something flying carp. That's always an adventure.
Shock a gator.
Oh, we've done it once. It was not happy. It was about an 11-footer.
Oh gosh. I feel like you just need to run like cameras all the time. Your life sounds amazing. So
No, I don't want to do that.
What typically would you find? Is it just bass that are coming to the surface, or are you getting like catfish?
Oh no, you get all your
everything?
you get your forage fish, you get your bass, your carp, stuff like that. And then randomly enough, in some of these lakes, it's like small ones, like 8 or 9 acre ones. We went to shock one, and the guy's like, "Well, I've got paddlefish out there." We're like, "There's no way. This is like an 8-foot."
Paddlefish.
Yeah, this is an 8-foot deep. There's no way. But he's like, "Oh yeah." So we put out gill nets because they can sense the boat coming. They avoid us.
Okay.
So they wound up having a bunch of paddlefish in this pond on Mississippi State's campus randomly. It turns out a professor put them there years ago. Dr. Don Jackson.
All right.
So,
Fascinating. So you take all this information. Hey, you're just doing. You take a few of them, you kill them,
Yeah.
and you use their ear bone. I think I've heard of this a while back.
yeah,
but-
you count the rings like a tree. It's the most. You can kind of age them with a scale, but it's the most accurate way to age a fish.
Okay. How would you do it with the scale? Like a
you
length or like a weight, or what do you? What do you
well,
mean?
with the scale, you
Oh,
still
you
put
like
it on-
pull a scale.
Yeah, you pull a scale.
Okay. And what's that?
Yeah, and you kind of it kind of has rings on it. You can kind of give a rough estimate, but the ear bone is the most accurate way to age a fish.
Huh. Okay. So what's like? Now I'm kind of fat. Why do you get any questions about this? I'm like curious on the age of the average lifespan of a largemouth bass.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts are always like a 14 inches a year old and stuff like that. But I haven't gone too much into the science of it. I mean, I'm interested to get into the fishing in front of the shock boat. I want to know if you ever fished in front of the shock boat and then just gone through and shocked it and be like, "There's 100 fish here."
I've fished a lake before, and then I was actually fishing one of the monthlies for KBF, and I saw the shock boat come. I was like, I knew the people shocking. I was like, "Can I just ride with y'all? I want to see what I wasn't catching," because I caught like some 8-9 pounders there. Well, they were and on a good day, and they were shocking up like 12s and 13s. I was like,
Oh, wow.
wow.
Gosh, that's awesome.
Oh yeah.
All right, I forget what we're talking about. Oh, average length. Yeah. So, is there like generalizations on 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year? When do largemouth bass typically age out? And like,
Yes and no. So technically, they can have, like most fish species, what's known as indeterminate growth. They don't really stop growing until they die, or they're confined to their environment and their forage. So typically in Mississippi, a 1-year-old bass from fingerling to 1 year should be in the 10 ounce to 1 pound range. If you manage stuff correctly, in 3 years, you can have 3 to 4 pound bass in your ponds.
okay,
In Mississippi, as well as parts of Alabama and a lot of places throughout the South, it takes 10 pounds of forage fish per 1 pound of bass for that bass to grow. So if you got a 2-pound bass, they're going to need 20 to 25 pounds of forage fish per year to grow. And a lot of people don't realize this. So they keep throwing, I will preach this the day I die: eat more bass, kill more bass, and catch and release is the worst thing to ever really happen to fisheries.
just keeps them all small. Is what you're saying?
It does. You keep throwing them back and they keep reproducing. Well, that ecosystem has a finite amount of biodiversity and our forage and stuff it can produce. The correct term is just, I've gone blank on it, but it can only hold so much biomass. That lake can only produce so much biomass every year. So if you have 10 bass and 100 pounds of forage fish, you're okay. If you get 20 bass and they keep eating all the forage fish, and they're not having time to reproduce and keep going and going and going, those bass are going to be small, stunted, inverted stomachs, and you're just not going to have a healthy population. One of the big Instagram guys, the aquatic biologist, he goes real in depth on that. I've talked to him quite a few times. But in Mississippi, like I said, if you've got an 8-pound bass, you need 80 to 90 pounds of forage fish for just that bass per year. And people are like, well, I'm catching big bluegill. Well, yeah, a 6-pound bass can eat, a 9-inch shad. They can't eat but like a 4 or 5-inch bluegill because of the way the spines are. And they like to target bluegill more because bluegill are much more higher calorie per gram than like shad. It's like shad's like 35 grams or 35 calories per gram. A crawfish is like 78, and most bluegill are 80 to 90. Having 89 calories per, I think, ounce or so. I forget what it is per, body weight. So they're higher calorie fish for that bass to eat. So they target them a lot. Well, if you have a bunch of big bluegill and you're only catching big bluegill out of your pond, you ever catch anything small, it means those big ones are constantly reproducing, but the small ones aren't making it to maturity. So once the big ones die, you're not going to have the next generation.
Yeah. Fascinating. So if you're going to any type of lake and all you're doing is catching dinks, and you just can't, you're catching a lot of small fish, it's usually the issue that you're running into. Is
high overpopulation, and especially if they have like an inverted stomach during pre-spawn or when they should be feeding up and stuff. If they have the inverted stomach, flat stomach, then normally it's a telltale sign that's a very overpopulated lake.
Yeah.
And all reality, on your average 20-acre and down lake, you need to take 10 to 15 pounds of bass out per acre per year. So 10 acres, 150 pounds of bass per acre per year, or per lake that year.
Yeah.
Now, in your giant lakes like Chickamauga and Garnersville, you could probably take 25 and 30 pounds of bass out per acre per year and not make a dent in the population. And that's one thing people complain about is, it's like, well, I'm not catching big ones like I used to. It's because everyone's throwing back the small ones, and the small ones are actually faster than big ones, so they're eating up all the food, and it's just a vicious cycle.
All right. So you're actually somewhat of a proponent of not catch and release, but
very much so.
From time to time, not wholesale, but from time to time.
14 inches, 14 inches and down they almost taste as good as crappie. They make fantastic blackened fish tacos, fish nuggets, fried fish. I'm a big proponent of eating bass.
Yeah. All right. Wyatt, any questions? Any questions I'm missing over here? Someone said, "Hey, did Darren update his internet?" I did. I got completely new internet service, so that was fun.
We want to know what the truck is named. I see.
Oh my God, that went so viral so quick.
What happened? I missed it.
Oh, I had to get it. My truck engine blew up. I was like, "What should I call the new truck?" Because the old one it was a big black Ram. It's called the Orca. It's like, what should I name it? And Andrew Blair and all the group, I asked for names. I didn't say I was going to name it. I just asked for names.
You asked the fishing community for names?
Oh, I did.
Oh, that was your first mistake.
Well, I mean, there were some cool ones that were put out. I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then Steve caught traction. And one of my best friends' name is Steve. So it spread through my friend group. And it's like Steve Billington Fishing was a big thing. It's like, oh, Steve. And Andrew Blair blew it up with all his hundreds of thousands of followers. They tell him the name, it's Steve. Steve, yes.
Yak Bass says definitely Steve. Steve is such a fitting name. Steve, duh. Yes, like Steve. A lot of people in the comments, they like that. All right. Well, sorry about your truck.
It's a maroon Ram. So we'll see. So many Steves.
There you go. So let's start like easing into the tactical here. If you had to simplify it, what drives everything that bass do all day, every day?
They want to eat, and eventually they want to mate. That's about it.
About protection.
Protection? You talking about how they protect themselves?
No, like
I think
of course they want food. Are they also looking for safe places? Right? They're not. They're not. They're not top of the food chain.
The smaller ones are looking for it for safe place because bass are cannibalistic. But the big ones, they're just looking for ambush spots. They're looking for the best way they can get their next meal. A lot of times that's going to be ambush spots.
There it is. So, do you think that this is? I have all kinds of like pondering questions. I have a fish biologist on the show tonight. What am I going to ask him? Do you think bass actually think, or is it mostly just instinct?
No, bass are the smartest and dumb fish out there. Is the best way I know how to describe them.
Well, my wife describes me. You're the dumbest, smartest man I know.
Same. But I do think they are smart. I think they figure out a pattern. There's a study done years ago, almost like the Schrodinger's cat type study, or whatever, Schrodinger's dog, whatever it is. They flicked on a light with a dog and they hurt it. They made it feel pain. They shocked it.
Mm-hmm.
Third time they flicked on the light, dog flinched because he thought he was getting shocked. They went all the way down to an earthworm, and it was like the 100,000th time or something, because they have photoreceptors. That light flicked on and it flinched. It like moved.
The worm?
Yeah, the worm. So I believe that bass have the ability to learn and adapt. And some of the biggest proponents of that is if they didn't, the same lures we were throwing 50 years ago would still be working today like they did 50 years ago. I also believe that they're very much adapting to the waves of front-facing sonar. And people say, well, they can't feel them. I got in the water one day and let my buddy shoot me with his Garmin, and I could feel it and hear it underwater. And I know if I can, that fish's lateral line is definitely picking that up on some wavelength somehow. And
You
we've
felt
seen, yeah, I could feel it.
You could tell when he turned it on and turned it off, and you were.
Well, I could tell when he had that beam facing me and facing away from me. I could hear it underwater.
Interesting.
You can hear the clicking.
Yeah,
you hear it. Whenever
it's just like a dolphin sonar. Dolphin hits prey fish with sonar, they start to run and hide. And I think these bass are adapting to front-facing sonar and not biting. And you can look at it, the studies; they're not biting nearly as much as they were when it first came out, because they've almost put in the correlation that I'm feeling something and it feels predatory, and I'm on alert now.
Yeah, man. Last time I felt that, my jaw got jacked, and that wasn't a good time. So
the last time I felt like that was basic training.
Interesting. Wyatt, what do you think?
So it's one of the I know that there was a study. I can't remember what the study was, but they were giving people. They gave you a rattle trap, and then they gave you a Senko, and they gave that was the only lure that you could fish with. And the guy with the rattle trap would go out there and fish for 2 hours. Tell me how many fish you caught, and then they'd send this guy with the Senko out. Tell me how many fish you caught, and the numbers. They had a brand new pond, and the rattle trap was out catching the Senko first. And then it just fell within days. It was just zero bass on the rattle trap, and they kept biting the Senko just kind of at a slower rate. They stopped biting the Senko at a slower rate than they were biting they stopped biting the rattle trap.
Yes, the correlation of the noise, but that's why silent crankbaits have become becoming a bigger thing than they were in the past.
Yeah,
it used to be the heart of the knock. Used to be the big selling point. Mm-hmm. I've been throwing an OG Slim 6 and just killing bass on it. When my buddy was throwing one with a knocker in it, and I was catching twice the fish.
They find shad just fine. I've never seen a shad with a rattle in it.
Exactly.
I kind of go back and forth. I don't know. I was using a hard knock a few days ago on the KVD 1.5 hard knock.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But it was it's not a lake that gets fish because it's closed every once in a while. So interesting.
So I wonder where do you find more bass? I mean, I know all the lakes kind of vary everywhere that you go, but are you finding them on rock bank or sand bank and grass? Have you noticed anything hey, whenever I get near this, I find bass in every lake I go to? Or
wood lay downs. Every lake I fish, I will fish around grass, and sometimes I'll catch fish, sometimes I won't. I will fish rock. Depending on the time of day, the temperature, and the moon phase, I will catch fish on the rocks. But anytime I fish around wood, I catch fish. And we had a fishing tournament here a few weeks ago, and the lake, there's a 3 fish limit it should have took 70 plus inches to win this 3 fish limit in this particular lake. It is the land of giants. Does
the land of giants live in Texas?
No, I'm gonna get hate. I'm gonna get hate for this from probably a million people, but I don't care. So you know the Berkeley thing they filmed with that new scent bait that had Matt Robertson and all them guys on it?
The lab series?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have them upstairs.
Well, you know the little promo Berkeley put on Instagram a few weeks ago, and they were just catching just monster after monster after monster.
No, I did not see that.
Yeah, that's I know where that lake is. We had a tournament there, and so, and it's here in Mississippi. But we people out there scoping, and normally people out there scoping will catch 7, 8, 9 pounders are very common there.
Yeah,
12 and 13s are too. Where to fish. 2 weeks before they had dumped 200 tons of lime in this lake, and that messed everything up. Plus the ice storm, and the fish had come in and out of spawn. And I was like, you know what? I'm fixing to find somewhere shallow with some laydowns and some grass. I work with Lawrence. I'm on Lawrence's pro staff. I've got the Actographer too. I'll go out there and scope some days. But I was like, I'm a bank beater. I'm around wood. I'm most comfortable. Went out there, caught it. One just under 8, one was about 6 in less than a foot of water. Didn't catch 3 fish limit, one with 2 fish. But people out there were catching dink after dink after dink, and they weren't fishing the same pattern. I was fishing wood. Lay downs in the shallow, and that was my go-to.
Yeah. I was out this morning, and a buddy and I, all of them were on wood, 18s, 19s, 20s. I mean, they were healthy fish. They were just all relating to wood, and they wanted that swim jig like it was.
Oh, yeah. Well, here's why. It's wood, depending on how fine the branches are, because you always get your trunk, you got your limbs coming out, and you've got your very fine, like the bunches where the leaves used to be, all them fine little branches.
Yep.
Bait fish hide in there. Crawfish will go in there. Small birds will go around there. I've seen bass smoke a gosling before here in Mississippi. So it has hiding places for forage fish, but it also has easily ambush spots for big bass. And it's to me, they're always there because bait fish are always there. Forage fish are always there. So it's always been, if I have a laydown, I'm going to fish a laydown. Yeah. I might throw 3 or 4 things at it, but I know there's going to be a fish on the laydown.
What's the first thing you're throwing in a laydown? Like your go-to? You're like, here we go, jig time, or what is it?
What time of year?
Let's say right now for you.
Right now, I'm going to skip a swagger stick up in there. Kayak Fishing swagger stick, wacky style, weightless. Pitch it as close to the bank where the laydown is by the bank as I can, because if that log is right there and the bank's coming that way like that, it creates a pinch point. So if there's prey fish there, bass, they don't have anywhere to go, bass can blow them up. Cast out, wait 5 seconds, twitch, reel it in a couple feet, let it sit for 5 more seconds, twitch. I speed fish my wacky worms, and that's always real good for me. After that, it's going to be a underspin going by it, then a crankbait.
Wyatt, what about you? I know you're throwing first. Wyatt's jig.
There's only one lure going into the laydown.
Only one. And it's to the deepest, darkest corner of that laydown. I know Wyatt gets it done.
Yeah.
Shadows or ambush spots.
I need another reorder of the football head jigs, Wyatt.
Did you lose any more?
Well, I lost 2. Pike took 1, and I'm trying to remember what happened to the other. I have a bunch of your other ones, but they get caught up a ton. So I need the football head jigs.
So the big thing too, and I know y'all ever watch Shark Week? You always see the great white belly, dark top. That way, if prey's looking up, they see a white belly, they can't see it. If they're looking down, it looks dark like the surrounding.
Mm-hmm.
You notice bass has a dark top and a white bottom. Same thing. Ambush predator fish.
All right. So you're mentioning earlier in the show, and I get fascinated about this, is a lot of studies out there, right? So Thad, what are some of your favorite studies? Because I know that when you go and you speak at places, a lot of times there are also other speakers who are bringing their studies to the table. So what are some of the most fascinating findings you have found over the years that would help an angler listening tonight catch more and bigger fish?
All right. The moon phase. And people argue the moon phase. And people argue it for deer hunters.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been all kinds of studies that prove it doesn't really affect deer. It's true, in my opinion. But fish, it does.
Okay.
Especially bass. So if you have a full moon, if you're going fishing that morning, it's a full moon that night. You're going to have a really good time until about 9 a.m. And then a really good time after about 1 o'clock. And the reason for that is that full moon normally provides, as long as it's not a cloudy night, a full moon normally provides enough light those fish can hunt at night more effectively. They're hunting at night more effectively. They're eating more. They still feel full like we do. So, but they just digest quicker. So if they're eating all night, about 8 or 9 o'clock, a lot of them's had their fill completely. They'll sit, they'll rest, they'll digest. Once 1 o'clock hits, they get that predatory feeling again. They go out hunting again.
Okay. So go night fishing if you can on a full moon?
Yeah, I mean, people don't realize it. They think you're throwing a white bait at night. No, you want to throw a darker bait at night because the silhouette stands out much better than a white bait.
Wyatt, do you ever go night fishing?
Not. It's been a long time. I used to live on one of my apartments. Used to back up to a golf course, and occasional night fishing would happen out there. But that's about it.
The only problem with night fishing around here is gators.
Yeah, I told Chad because when I go down to Gunnersville, we go night fishing sometimes. I love it. There's just something peaceful about no one else being out in the lake and just all by feel. Oh my gosh, and they hit like 2x at least when we went. But he's like, yeah, you're not gonna want to go. I'll let you choose about going on Santee Cooper at night, but I guarantee you, after you see how big these things are, you might not want to. I was like, yep, you're probably right up here in Ohio.
Oh yeah, Ohio.
Santee, that'll be the middle of mating season.
Yeah, they're gonna be all riled.
As long as you don't hear like a low, deep, guttural growl, you're good.
I saw a photo recently. There's an absolute giant. He was slapping its head and he's making that. And yeah, it was at like a boat ramp. He said like the king of the boat ramp. This thing was huge.
Yeah, that's a ladies. Here I am, guys. Go on, fight me.
Get on. All right, we got a lot of. If you have a question for Thad, specifically to bass fishing, any others? Like we talked about moon phases. What are some other studies that you've heard from others or parts of studies?
One of my favorite ones recently is people say that your people are catching a ton more fish with front facing sonar. Well, Texas Park and Rec and Mississippi Department of Wildlife Fish and Parks both did a study, and they found on average, and both got like the exact same number within like 0.2. On average, you're catching 1.5 to 1.9 more bass per trip than people without front-facing sonar. You're only catching 1 or 2 more fish per trip. They're just of higher quality fish.
Got it. Fascinating.
So people don't like to hear that. They think, stare at a screen, catch big fish. It's a video game. It's not. That's one of my favorite studies. And then they did another big study because one of my old fraternity brothers is actually the head central fisheries biologist here in Mississippi. And we were in college together, but he did a study here and found out that in shallow water or anywhere that there's an oak tree and a thrown out pine tree if they're side by side, for the first little bit, the pine tree will hold more fish, but then they go back to the oak tree.
Okay.
And super shallow water, like a Christmas tree, will hold more fish for longer than a oak tree will, but they just dissolve and disintegrate so much faster than any other thing in the water. Like you throw a Christmas tree out there, you got it for like a year and a half, maybe 2 years.
Oh, really? It's gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
I've pulled up Christmas trees before. Oh, I was like, oh, it was like this thing was like super bare. Fascinating. Did not know that. Wyatt, any questions you got? I got a bunch of them over here.
Yeah, not at the moment. I'm trying to like process everything for it.
Yeah, there's a lot of comments over here too. Let us know if you got a question. I thought it was fascinating. So if you do use forward facing sonar, you will catch more fish.
Yeah.
By about one, but more quality fish. Did they qualify the quality fish? What qualified as a quality fish versus unquality? Do you remember?
I think if I read the study correctly, it was on average. Like if you look at the average weight of the fish, like if you have 100 fish caught without front facing sonar and 100 fish with front facing sonar,
Yeah.
the 100 fish had a higher average weight than without. But
Wow.
thing is, it could only be like by a few ounces. So
Yeah, it kind of makes sense
Okay.
because I mean, if you can see them down there, and if you're targeting a large fish, you're just going to move on past the smaller one. So
Yeah.
I get it,
Yep.
but it's not like astronomical, like
No.
most people think it is.
no, it's really not. It's not astronomical at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I will say it's not really hurting our bass population, but it is affecting the crappie populations a lot in a whole lot of places.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about that because you studied crappie specifically as well as largemouth bass, correct? You've done your own studies on this.
No, I haven't done the studies. I've read a bunch of the studies. Some of my former colleagues did studies with them, but it's everything I'm reading and showing is that it's affecting it. And they've actually recently, they say it's not because from facing sonar. They say it's because of the way the lakes stuff are now. They've increased the size in Mississippi. Some places it's like a 14-inch minimum, and they've gone from 30 to 15 to 10 crappie per person.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just because those big females are just, I mean, it's so much easier to find the big crappie and catch the big spawners out. It's affecting it detrimentally.
Fascinating.
There's a couple lakes near the house in North Carolina. Like I used to go out to any brush pile and sit there and catch 14, 16-inch crappie. And now it's just every single brush pile is picked clean. Like there's nothing out there.
Like the crappie masters when they come through Mississippi, and we used to have eight or nine of the top 10 crappie lake in the world. And like it was nothing for if you had 40 boats out there in these crappie master tournaments, you know, enough for like 8 or 9 of them to bring in a 4-pound crappie. And you just really don't see much of that anymore.
So what's going to have to change specifically with crappie fishing before it's decimated? It's one thing to do a study, right?
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of people will tell you to studying the effects of front-facing sonar on our fish populations, there's like, well, what do we know? Well, we don't know a lot because it hasn't been out long enough to have true studies and long-term comparisons done.
Sure.
Because it's what, 19? It's been out since what, 1920?
Maybe a little earlier, 18, late 18. Yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't widely as used and available.
Right. 100%.
Yeah, and there's not enough quantitative data out there currently to give true assessments of the effects on populations.
What's an argument that you get in with all the time with people?
Catch and release.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You just always arm wrestling over that.
Yes. And the easiest way I can lay it down for them is, all right, you and your wife and your kid have 2 pizzas and y'all get to eat that and you're happy and healthy. Well, all your in-laws and cousins and nieces and nephews come over and you still only have 2 pizzas. You're kind of hungry, ain't you? And you're like, well, yeah, fish is the same way.
Makes sense. No, I like it. So catch and release. I'm sure you're getting arguments about forward-facing sonar, or people try to argue. Here's a good question for you, but really quick before we hop in there. 78 live right now. Thank you guys so much. Please hit that like button wherever you're at. We're casting to think 8 different places at once right now. Wyatt, we couldn't hear you at the beginning. Do you still have a job, my friend? Yeah, I know you're in your mom's basement right now. So
you currently still have a job.
All right. Do you think you're going to have a job next week? Is the question.
Next week.
Is your boss back? What's going on? I know you had some weird.
He's back. I'm supposed to be there for Monday meetings, and I was driving this past month yesterday, and I'll be driving next Monday. So I'm not really winning brownie points on that. So.
Have you gotten a text? Hey, we need to talk when you get back, or anything like that?
I left for lunch and got a phone call within like 5 minutes. Like, hey, where'd you go?
All right. It's not looking good. Why? Not looking good. Yeah. You don't seem to care that much. I love it. We'll see. We will see.
I was curious. Have you done like you've tagged bass? You've tagged them and tracked them?
I've tagged a few in college. I think it's really cool the way they tag them.
Not for the studies or anything.
No, it was for studies.
Okay.
But that was 15 years ago, 16 years ago.
I don't know if y'all were doing the like RFID tagging bass and tracking where they swim and stuff like that.
They are in Mississippi. Again, my buddy who's the fisheries biologist down Central Mississippi is doing a big one on Ross Barnett right now.
Yeah.
He's doing a big study with that, doing the trackers. If you catch him in a tournament, report it. He wants you to release them. He's like, if we don't want to release them, you're not required to. Just let me know what the numbers and stuff say. So I mean, there's a lot of studies going on, and you have to get a lot of it's weird. You have to go sometimes, depending on some stuff, you have to jump through hoops because you're tagging a live animal that could cause it harm. So it's really effective in some ways. In other ways, people don't like it because they're like, well, I don't want to tell you where I caught it at. Well, we're not going to share the exact data point with the public. They caught your 7-pound bass. There's a bunch of 1-pounders. It's just going to say a fish was caught here. So
I actually have friends who will go in Ohio and be like, oh, there were 6 7-pounders caught in this lake, and there's 15 6. In Ohio they publish all that. It's fascinating. For all
they do. They have lake records at like every public lake in Mississippi.
Yeah, awesome.
And it's crazy because I've seen a lot of people shatter lake records and they just won't report it because I don't want more people fishing here.
I get that, especially if it's your local lake. I get it.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you, Thad. And let us know if you have any questions for Thad. Let's go ahead and put question like in big letters. And so it can grab my attention because I'm not looking. I'm looking. It's really small. So make sure you put question on there. What's the biggest misconception anglers have about bass behavior? Or the top 3? You don't have to choose.
I'm going to say the biggest one's going to be sore lipping.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's like, that fish is sore lipping. They ain't going to eat for, a week. No, they're still going to eat daily. They get stabbed and poked by bluegill spines all the time.
Okay. What do you think about Wyatt as a tournament angler? You probably hear this a lot. I hear it a lot when I pre-fish. You'll hear guys like, oh, I try to shake it off, or I'll catch a big one. I'll just move on. I'll come back the next day. What's your thought on it?
I mean, I don't like swing. I don't like sticking them because I don't want to pull it. When I feel like whenever you pull them out of the water, that makes them, that spazzes them out a little bit and they swim off or do something crazy. Because I don't think. I actually in the classic earlier this year I did catch a bass in practice and then I caught it the next day in the tournament, but that's not something I normally think happens.
Okay,
it happens a lot more than you think it would.
Yeah. Probably somebody else catches it. Yeah.
Well, it's like when I pre-fished that last tournament. I was fishing the area. I knew they were shallow. Tossed a crankbait up in there. Caught this fish. Didn't get out of the water. Fought it for a while, let it go. Jumped 1,000 times. Caught it, released, put it back. Went there a few days later in the tournament. Within 50 feet of where I caught that last fish, I caught it again. Different bait, but I caught it again. I mean, they still have a metabolism. They're still going to eat.
Yeah.
Again, I think the memory comes from they may not bite. If they hear that clicking sound, they may not bite again because they, that might have equal pain, but they still got to eat. They still got to bite.
Yeah.
So do fish, here's another question. Do fish feel pain?
Yeah, they feel pain. I mean, they feel pain. Their mouth area that we hook them on does not have a ton of nerve endings. Just like your thing of skin right there, your weenus is my favorite right there. You're going to get taken off YouTube for that. But I mean, you can pinch, you can smack. There's not a ton of nerves there in that fold of skin. So it's kind of like the same concept with that. Their nerve endings run differently than ours, where our lips and stuff are highly sensitive. Theirs is more cartilage and muscle, or cartilage and ligaments, versus what we have. So
Yeah.
yeah, they feel pain. Everything to an extent feels pain.
I'm really glad like a bass doesn't like scream when I catch it or has some weird sound. That'd be terrifying. I feel really bad every time I do it.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Oh, we got some questions over here.
Yep. So I got a couple of them dropping in over there.
All right. Here we go. From Mr. Dustin Fishing. Thoughts on bed fishing?
For kayak fishing, I don't think it's really a bad thing. As far as bass fishing and bass tournaments go, if females on a bed and you take them off, put them, she's either going to make her way back, and they've been records of these fish going back like miles and miles and miles and miles, or they will find a new bed. I mean, they're not like us, that buck and that big girl right there. She's not tied to that buck bass or that bed. Even if she's laid her eggs and stuff already, she's normally just sitting there around there defending it. If she hasn't laid her eggs yet, she's just going to find another bed.
Okay. So you're like,
In my
hey, catch,
opinion.
photo, release. You're like, from your professional fishing, you're like, hey, you know what? Good. Hey, if you're taking that thing and moving it 6 miles, probably not the best thing to do, but
I mean, well, they've been. I want to say one study found a fish that moved back like 25 miles.
Cool. I've heard these stories before too, where you catch a fish, the next year they'll drop it off like 15 miles away, and the next year they'll go back, they'll catch the same exact fish on the same root ball, and they've done it like year over year. It's crazy.
And as far as I saw this in there too, and as far as something else, I talk to people a lot, and they just don't ever want to hear it. Fish mortality in tournaments is a real thing. And it's like, well, I released that fish healthy. I know it's called delayed mortality, and this is what it is. It's the same in kayak fishing only had on average, the studies show in our CPR tournaments, there's like a 20 to 30% mortality rate to compare to some, five fish weigh-ins had up to 50% mortality rate. That includes delayed mortality. I'm like, well, I never see a dead bass anywhere. That's because birds, scavengers, turtles, other fish, alligators, muskrat, everything will eat a dead fish. And what that comes from is if you don't wet that, like even our catch boards, if you don't wet that board when you go to measure a fish and it removes that slime coat, there's a 50% chance you just killed that fish and gave it a death sentence in 2 to 3 weeks. Because with that slime coat removed and the high stressors, especially in the heat of the summer, it opens that fish up to a lot of fungal and bacterial infections for that. Same thing, MLF, I think that's one of the reasons they give you a penalty if you boat flip it and it touches the carpet, because that carpet just kills so much of the slime coat. It's a penalty. And all the people you see them boat flipping big fish, and if you don't, put slime coat back on that fish, stuff like that, that's a death sentence for that fish, pretty much.
So I've heard, and I've just heard it, right? I don't know where I heard it or if it was reputable or not, but that they regenerate that slime coat pretty fast.
Pretty fast is a relative term.
Okay, unrelative it for me.
I mean, it's not going. It only takes one spore or one bacterium to get on its skin and get in that infection and stuff started. And that could happen in a day. It could happen. You think how dirty some of this water is that we fish in? How many people's dogs and birds have taken craps in that, just flying over, stuff like that. So it doesn't take long for that infection to start. The slime coat may come back over it. Sometimes the fish survives, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, did you ever see that zombie bass that I caught? That big bug-eyed thing?
I did not. But I just subscribed to you, so I'll start seeing your stuff moving forward.
Appreciate it. But it had these huge bulbous eyes bulging out of its head, completely blind. And to my best guess, and I took it to one of the fisheries professors here on campus, pictures and stuff of it. And to my best guess is it got a double bacterial eye infection, similar to pink eye in us, but there's just bulging and blinded it out. But it was still hunting. I caught on a glide bait, and people are like, "You caught that 50 feet of water and brought it up." I was like, "I'm in a 12-foot deep lake. I caught it on the surface with a glide bait. I watched it."
Fascinating. Yeah, it doesn't have the bends, folks. It's
yeah,
weird. All right. So, I mean, my buddy does this. I think I'm going to start doing it too. He just dips his entire catch board into the water before he just dunks it, and then he will.
Yeah, I do too. Or I keep like a lot of times I'll have a like hand sanitizer things you spray and it just mist it out on it.
Yeah.
I'll keep one of them in there with water and just lake water and spray it on the board.
There you go.
Or I'll dip them. I try to dip them. So yeah.
So out of 100, you said the mortality rate. That sounded pretty high. So out of 100 bass, you said there's a 20% more delayed mortality rate?
Even for kayak fishing, yes, all the studies show that.
That's wild.
But you have to think too, that includes if you severely gill hooked the fish and released it and tried to go away, you gut hooked the fish, you wiped the slime coat out, all
Kept it out
kind
of
of
water
different
too
things.
long. Yeah.
Yeah, kept it out of the water too long. It doesn't rehab good. There's all kind of ways, and even that fish swims off healthy. If it has no skin protection on it and it gets the infection, it's still a chance to die.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. A lot more than I thought it would be.
But the secondhand sort of that is we're not keeping enough fish anyway, so it's not really being a detriment to most bodies of water.
Sure. But it would suck if you caught 6, 7 pounders. And,
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
And I advocate for 14 inches down keep, because most of your bucks are 14 down. A lot of your males are populated. So the bigger ones are always considered your breeders. So I'm an advocate of 14 inches and down make the best fish tacos.
There you go. Blackened fish tacos.
Oh,
Low
they're
Life
delicious.
Anger's got a question for you. Thank you for writing question in there, brother. Can the color of bass be defined by what the bass has been eating in their diet?
Not really.
Like a flamingo.
If it has, I've never read or seen anything about it.
Okay.
But I wouldn't figure it would. I know that some shit, if they're big crawfish eaters, I know that the shells and stuff like that contain chemicals and stuff in it that could possibly change the color of some things. But to my knowledge, no. The color of bass really depends on health, mood, water temperature, what type of season and stuff it's in, and what kind of cover.
Okay. Interesting. Now I've heard this. There's all kinds of I've heard. Tell me what you think, because when you live in this world. But will a stressed out bass change color, like in the tail and stuff like that? I've heard this. You can tell if one's been moved from one lake to another because they start changing color because they're stressed out because they've been moved so far.
So the stress, yes. I mean, you can tell if a fish is high stressed or not been in a good live well by the color of their fins.
Okay.
But if you see bright red fins, that fish is high stress. It's not doing good, and it's overdosing on ammonia in the water. It's not got a good filtration system in it.
Okay. So, all right, fascinating. Good to know. Good to know. All right, here's a question coming in from Nathan. Nathan says, do you think programs like ShareLunker in Texas help more than they hurt fisheries? Once the place gets posted, the fishery just gets hammered by anglers.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. Yeah, it gets hammered by anglers trying to catch another giant fish.
Yeah.
But also, you're getting a fish that has so they call it fitness. If a fish is healthy, gets big, and is able to reach maturity and reproduction size, especially to these large ShareLunker type fish, that fish is considered to have high fitness.
Okay.
And it normally means it has good genetics. It's probably been caught 1,000 times. It has a higher resistance to a lot of these bacterial and fungal infections. It has a higher survival rate. It's got better hunting properties to it. So it's an overall better quality fish. So taking the genetics of those fish, while yes, you're removing from that lake, but that fish has dropped 50,000 eggs a year. Not really, but like probably 10 to 20 a year for years and years and years. So there's genetics are still in there. So taking these fish out, breeding them out where you have a very high survivability rate, because I think it's only like 2 to 4% of bass eggs ever reach sexual maturity or even past the fingerling stage. But if these ShareLunker programs in Arkansas now, it's called the Legacy Lunker program they have. I think they're really good programs, and I have petitioned for Mississippi to get one. I've talked to people, and they're like, we don't have the staff, money. We got the money. We don't have the staff. We don't have the money. We don't have the resources or the place to do it. But I think they're fantastic programs because it reciprocates really good genetics. And if you have a lake that's got poor genetics, it's got high mortality rate, and it's full of stunted growth fish that they never really get big because of genetics something. If you're able to put better genetics in that system, it's a very positive thing, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I like it. Why? Any thoughts?
All right. Yep. I was curious about that one. I had the other questions on the. They were asking about the bass changing colors just from like whenever you catch a black one, a really dark one, or a really light one.
Yeah, that could be from how they're hunting, if they've been in deeper water, more tannin water, stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. Rolling through and talking about the mortality rates. Are we noticing like warm water kills more fish, cold water kills more fish? I feel like cold water they'd sink more. Like you might still kill them, they just don't float like hot water.
In cooler water, they have a higher survival. From everything I've read, cooler water they have a higher survivability rate. Warmer water is hotter. There's more prominent fungus. There's more things that can infect them, and that's kind of the thought behind that. One thing I will say, people who fill their live wells up full of ice in the summer to help fish, congratulations, you killed the fish when you threw it in there, more than likely, because it shocks their system. You're taking them out of, in Mississippi, it was like the water was like 94 degrees one day, and this guy's live well was 68 degrees, and he put the fish in there and it bellied up real quick because you're shocking them, you're shocking their system. If anything, slowly add ice and keep it within 10 degrees of the water you take them out of.
There you go. That's what you're looking for. All right.
Yeah.
Well, probably like a frozen water bottle or something that would defrost a little slower than a bunch of ice cubes.
Yeah. You want the water in your live well to be within X amount of degrees of the water that the fish is coming out of.
Yeah. You say 10 degrees is a good.
I would say no more than 10 degrees. I would try to keep it around the 5 to 7 mark.
Yeah. Proponent of like the what is it, the rejuvenate or anything? You notice anything with that?
I think I haven't done enough studies on that. I think some of that's good because I think it does help protect the slime coat or help give it an artificial slime coat and antibacterial stuff until theirs can grow back. So just like with the ice and stuff, I think it's just like when you go buy fishing from an aquarium store and put it in your aquarium, you have to let that fish acclimate. And you put in fake slime coat to get rid of ick and stuff like that. And that's all real stuff too.
So what's your thoughts? I'm switching gears here really quick. What's your thoughts on fishing line, and can bass really see it? Because how much has there been any studies on this, like braid, fluoro, mono, copolymer? Is there?
Yes, and a lot of those studies are funded by fishing companies. So
you can't see our braid; it's invisible.
There's some truth to that to a degree with thickness and everything like that. But if I'm fishing in the South, I try a mall screen to clear braid. I see people throw like rainbow colored braid and they say, well, it breaks it up. It does like one solid piece down there, which I kind of see too. Fish eyes don't work the same as ours. That's why wacky worms are so effective. Because it doesn't look just like a worm. It imitates so many different kind of baits. So, yes, if I'm fishing, Lake St. Clair or somewhere up there with that, gin clear water, I'm probably going to throw a clear line just so it's one less thing that they may see. If I'm down here in the South and I'm fishing Gunnersville where it's not super clear, or I'm fishing here in Mississippi where you've got like 6 inches of visibility, I'm throwing moss green to I don't really care. Fish are going to bite it.
But there hasn't been any like studies outside of funded by the companies.
There's probably been some college students somewhere at some university who've done some studies on it. If I had to guess, it's as far as their graduate program or capstone programs, but I'm currently not aware of any.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I believe they see it. I'm just not quite sure how much it actually affects hits. I don't know. It's fascinating. All right, I'm like you. If it's half the water I fish in Ohio, doesn't have a lot of visibility, so a lot of times I just go straight braid. What are you laughing at, Wyatt? He's over here. chuckling about something. He's got like a party in the basement. There's a lot of people down there right
I
now.
know,
I had to
I
move
hear him.
out of the basement into the living room. So
How many
you
people are in your mom's basement right now? That's crazy.
How many people are in the basement here? Six.
Six people
with
in the
one
basement
with one
and a
one incoming,
podcast.
or five with one incoming.
Tell them there's 72 of us now. 70. There's like 80 of us in the basement. I love it. What do you think anglers are overcomplicating the most when it comes to bass fishing? You getting a lot of conversations about this, and so something they talk about, worry about, but probably shouldn't.
Oh my God, leaders.
Oh, really? All right.
Yes, I don't have a leader on anything I throw. Not a single bait.
Straight
The
braid.
the only straight braid. My wacky worm's got 25-pound braid on it right now. And I've caught dozens of 8+ pound bass off of it. The only time you will ever see me tie on a leader is when I'm saltwater fishing, because I go from braid to like 50-pound mono for the stretch and pull, and it's with a swivel on it, or I will have it catfishing sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only time you really ever see me with any kind of leader. I know people are like, my FG knot will never fail. To me, a leader is just one. That knot is just one more thing that can fail.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen more big fish lost because a leader broke or a leader knot failed or something like that. So
Yeah.
I don't throw leaders on anything I own, and I still am winning tournaments. And I'm still catching big fish.
Yeah. I like it. What if an angler could fix one thing, like to get more bites? What's that one thing that you would recommend that you've seen consistently?
I'm going to go to the front facing sonar thing. I've seen guys chase bass, the same fish, for like 2 hours. Fish probably not hungry, or it's already eaten, or something like that.
But it's so large.
Yeah, I know it is big,
bite.
and it may be a catfish. Or a carp. So my big thing is when I'm using my active target too. If I can't get that fish to bite in 15 to 20 minutes, I move on.
Mm.
I will take a higher cast to bite ratio than trying to chase that one fish, because if I can cast 1,000 times in 1,000 different areas for 1,000 different fish, eventually one of those are going to bite.
Yeah.
But that one fish chasing it for hours and hours, it's probably not biting.
Yeah. No, I talked to Austin Hoover, and he's a monster with forward facing sonar, and he's like, if I don't catch it in the first 5 casts, I move on. He's like, I used to chase him for hours, and so I've learned quite a bit over the years. So we got some questions over here coming in from the comments about scent, which is interesting because Berkeley just came out with the lab series. I haven't fished them yet, but I have them upstairs. I'm gonna be fishing them next week. What's your thoughts on the effectiveness of scents? Have you seen the lab series? Have you dug into it and learned about it at all? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I actually talked to Matt Robertson about it here
Nice.
when they had the Elite Series in Columbus Lake here a little bit. And I've got some chartreuse garlic scent stuff, and I've got some crawfish scent stuff. I think the scent becomes more effective if it's really, really dirty water. And you'll see, I know the lab series, it's got powder in it, I believe. And it's like a slow release powder. And if you look at like Takahiro, and a lot of them other guys from Japan, he's talking about he soaks baits for a year in this powder before he will ever use them because it absorbs it like that. I think if it's really tannin or thick water like that, or if it's a current where they're actively hunting and they're using their scent and lateral line more than visual hunting, I think it can be effective. But I also believe that's why a lot of times they're chartreuse dyed, because it gives them more a visual prowess. I think also a lot of baits and lures and stuff catch fishermen and not fish here lately.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're not speaking specifically to lab series, or are you?
No, I'm not speaking specifically to lab series. I think it's a really cool bait. I think it's a really cool concept. I don't know the effectiveness of it in different scenarios, mainly because and I don't want to blow them out the water because I know where they were fishing on that lake to do that, and that's not hard to catch big fish out there.
I'm driving back through Mississippi on Monday. If you want to let me know where that is.
Dude, I will drop you a waypoint where you can catch a possible state or world record the right time of year.
Wyatt's like, wow, I'll talk to you later. Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't need to fish this tournament anyway.
For a world record all day,
Look,
every day.
My buddy Francis Tran's up there right now. He's at Cato right now, and he tried to get me to come, but I don't know. The power hour to me is just really, really fun. I enjoy it. I'll be fishing Bassmaster on Sandy Cooper, so
it's gonna be a party. Oh,
it is.
Yeah.
So, give me your thoughts on. You kind of talked about it with moon phases, but there's a lot. Like you get a lot of these apps. They have feeding windows. There's major feeding windows. There's minor feeding windows. How much stock do you put into that?
I don't really, unless it matches up with what I know. There's a full moon, waxing moon, a waning moon, stuff like that. If it's,
because it's coalescing like barometric pressure and all these things as well.
Yes, I follow the pressure and stuff like that, and some of those apps are very accurate. Of when the pressure drops, the fish should turn on, like that. But there's always multiple things and scenarios to bring into that. There's multiple factors that affect that fish biting other than just the barometric pressure, the moon phase. And those bite windows, you'll see some of them, it's like, it's a 4 hour. That's a big bite window for it to actually come off and say. I would probably give it about a 60 to 70% accuracy, depending on your app.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, I will say one, and I've tested it. Let me see. What is it right here? The Bass Forecast.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll look at it, and I've done tests on it, and I will have it set up with two lakes that are almost built identical. They're on the same latitude, longitude, everything. They're about 20 miles apart. Water's the same temperature. Everything about these lakes are pretty much identical, including to the type of structure and forward fish in it. And one will say, oh, this is a 4 today. And one will say, well, this is a 9 today. But they're pretty much the same lake.
Interesting. He's over here cross-checking the data. I like it, which makes sense. That's how your scientific brain works.
It's really weird. My brain doesn't work like a normal person's a lot of time. And my wife will tell you this because I'm always trying to figure stuff out and problems. And my mom, every year since I was like 4, has given me one of them brain teaser puzzles. I mean, even this year. And she orders special hardware because I will hyper focus in on science and problems and stuff like that. I coached the national 4-H rifle team a few years ago. We was driving to Nebraska, and I was listening to a podcast, a lot of the science stuff about fishing, and the guys around the car were like, let us listen. We like to fish, and they turned it on, and within 15 minutes, like, oh, put your headphones back in. This is awful. But I'm fascinated by that stuff. I'm fascinated by the actual science behind it.
Yeah. Do you follow the Science of the Strike guys at all?
I do. I've watched some of their stuff on there.
Yeah. I've enjoyed having them on. It's kind of fun. So, last question on the night. Unless you have a question for Thad, go and throw that in the comment section right now. But this is the KFO show, and I always love to know, what kayak are you running? I know it's a native, but I'm not quite sure exactly the type of native.
It's a Titan X 12.5.
All right. How long have you been running that? And what's the evolution of these kayaks for you over the years?
I've been running this one. This is year 2 with this particular kayak. I actually started off in a field and stream sit on top kayak. It was my first ever tournament kayak.
There you go.
From there, I found what I thought was a smoking deal in a Sin 133X. That barge did not stay with me for but a few months. Then I actually had an Old Town, the Predator PDL 132. It was fantastically fast. The problem is I'm a really big guy and there's not a lot of storage and movement. I'm 6'3", 225, 230.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not a small person. While it was stable and fast, it just wasn't for me. And then I got into the natives and got in once like, oh, this is fantastic and great. And wound up going to Mid-South Floats here in Mississippi, and got in the native, fished it for a year, and the maiden voyage, I actually caught my PB. No electronics, no motor, no nothing. Just pedaling around, and it's what kicked off a lot of the underspin craze with the tactical fishing MRE. I caught like a 9.5 pound bass, and Charlie Sanders actually filmed me catching this fish.
Oh, nice.
And I've been hooked on the Titans ever since, because even as big as I am, I can stand on the bow and pitch and flip for bedding fish or bow fish off the front of it with no problem.
Yeah. All right. Well, where can people find you?
So Thad Moody Outdoors, Facebook, Instagram. I'm on TikTok some, and YouTube is Thad Moody Outdoors, and I run the Bass and Biology podcast. I just put out scientific facts, try to break some stuff down. Some days it's just a ramble of guests.
Okay. How long have you been doing the podcast?
I just started season 2. I think I've got 30 episodes out. So I took a 2 month break because of work and stuff. I think I started it last July.
Okay. So what's the theme? What type of guests? Is it guest driven, or is it kind of just you speaking driven?
It's more as I pre-recorded. It's just talking. I broke down front facing sonar studies. I kind of broke down why front facing sonar wouldn't work on the Tom Beebe waterway, but I've had guests on here a couple times on mine, and I'm probably gonna start going more toward guests, because I can only break down so many scientific studies. And even I don't like listen to myself talk that much. So it's more of a try to teach something, try to learn something. Since I do work with a lot of youth programs, a lot of them watch my podcast as part of their lessons and stuff, because their organizations want to learn something, so they'll tune me in, or I'll film something for them.
Right on. Well, Thad. Well, quick. Wyatt, any closing thoughts? Any last questions for Wyatt? Thad over here.
Not at the moment.
Right on. Well, Wyatt, you're fishing tournaments weekend. You pre-fishing right now?
Weekend. What?
You pre-fishing? Have you been pre-fishing?
I was out there today.
Doing it good?
I hammered every 16 and a quarter inch fish I could swing on out there.
Eliminating water, my man.
You start going like, if I catch 5 16s, maybe the next one will be a 19 and 20. And then I'm like, well, I've caught 10 16s, and then I've caught 12 16s. I'm like, surely something has to change.
Process elimination, man. Bunch of clones out there. And because where you're fishing and stuff, I actually did in that type of water, it's me in a pool on my podcast. I break down how the colors and stuff of baits change as they go deeper, and why movements of different baits work better. So that was like one of my podcasts. I filmed it in the pool, just floating around, holding the camera, trying to hold the camera straight as I was floating on I don't remember if I was on a flamingo or not, but
flamingo or blow up alligator, one of the two.
Something.
Yeah, I like it. Well, Wyatt, good luck this upcoming weekend. I look forward to adding to your many, many trophies and checks behind you. I'll be disappointed for anything lower than third place, just to let you know. All right, folks.
Pressure.
Thad, appreciate you. Next week, actually, we're taking a break from the podcast, just a 1 week break. I'm going to be down doing a 4-day trip and a content trip down south, and so I will be out of pocket. So we'll see you in 2 weeks on the Kayak Fishing Obsessed podcast at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. You guys have a great week. See you.